detestable. It's something God cannot like and cannot stand. Right? And so African spirituality centers around the consultation of the dead. And to make it worse, it then suggests that the way to talk to God is to talk to God via the dead. There are a lot of assumptions there. There are a lot of theological concepts that I need to really unpack this morning. It's an insult, of course, to God to say that I'm talking to my ancestors to talk to God. It's an insult to God in a vast manner. It assumes that the dead are in heaven.
Are we happy?
To be with God, to speak to God. Otherwise, it makes no sense. And seven abominations, and then he lists them again. So when God says he hates something, guess what? He hates it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who loves it.
Wow.
When God says he hates something, he hates it. The word abomination, as a matter of fact, is a very strong word. It means extremely hated. Disgusting, it means. That's what the word abomination means. Detestable. It's something God cannot like and cannot stand. Right? And so African spirituality centers around the consultation of the dead. And to make it worse, it then suggests that the way to talk to God is to talk to God via the dead. There are a lot of assumptions there. There are a lot of theological concepts that I need to really unpack this morning. It's an insult, of course, to God to say that I'm talking to my ancestors to talk to God. It's an insult to God in a vast manner. Number one, it assumes that the dead are in heaven, because they have to be with God to speak to God. Otherwise, it makes no sense. It makes a huge assumption about the dead, right? Now, Luke chapter 16, the story of the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, which Christ speaks about, he says, now the rich man's name is not mentioned because his name, identity is not important, but his lifestyle is the issue. Yes. But Lazarus' name is mentioned. The rich man is rich and eats sumptuously and doesn't care, and Lazarus wants to be fed from the crumbs falling from the rich man's table. Both of them die, because death is a common allotment for both the rich and the poor. It doesn't discriminate. Both of them die, but the angels come to fetch Lazarus. There's no angels mentioned fetching the rich man. Right. But it still goes somewhere, because everybody who dies goes somewhere. They depart. You can't depart and still be present.
Exactly.
It's an oxymoron. It's a contradiction in terms.
Come on.
So they can't be here and they had also departed. I departed from PE 2 days ago. I cannot be in PE as well. It makes no sense. I departed and I landed here. I can't also be in PE. So you can't have somebody who's dead and then still be present here. Which one is it, Kanti? Are they here or they're gone?
Come on.
Right? So they depart. They go somewhere. So there is a place called the afterlife. So people who die go somewhere. Even on the day of the funeral, stop talking to the person in the first person. Don't say, Zola, we miss you. No, you are also venerating the dead. Don't do that. Don't talk to the person. You can talk about the person. Even when you are grieving, don't enter that domain. It's dangerous domain. Don't grieve like that. Don't grieve like those who have no hope, 1 Thessalonians says. Don't grieve like that. Don't wish your mother a happy birthday. She's dead. Don't wish her Mother's Day. Don't do it. Don't do it. It doesn't matter how consoled you feel. Don't go there. You're opening a door that you cannot be able to deal with. Don't go there. Don't mourn like that. Don't mourn like that. I know it's painful. I've lost both my parents, but don't go there. Don't go there. You're opening something you're not be able to manage when that door is opened. When that door is opened, you can't shut it yourself unless you receive spiritual help. Because I deal with a lot of Christians, this happened, I'm like, what did you do? Because the devil has no power over you unless you give him.
Exactly.
What did you do? Why are you possessed? Why are you troubled? Why can't you sleep? Why are you having nightmares? There's something you have done. In the name of, I'm trying to deal with the death of my father, death of my mother. Yes, it's painful. And God is aware of that. And he's your counselor. He's your comforter. He's a sticker. That's why it's called the father of widows, of orphans, and husband of widows. Why? Because he knows how to help widows deal with widowhood. And orphans to deal with losing your parents. So he's the best counselor and a comforter than anybody else is. Right? And so people do these things and they mourn like that and they open doors. These doors open up to familiar spirits. Verse Samuel 28, people ask me about that verse all the time, that there was a spirit that this woman, the witch at Endor, brought up, and I say, read again the context, read properly. From the first verse, it says there was a war between the Israelites and the Philistines, and then Saul sought God to speak, and God did not speak to Saul, neither by dreams, Urims, or the prophets. The three legitimate ways God has established, he did not speak. Why would he go and speak through a witch, an illegitimate source? So that is not a justification of an original answer. In fact, on the contrary, it's not. It means God had not decided to speak to Saul. Therefore, he could not, by God himself, choose to speak through the witch.
That's right.
It contradicts what everything God has established.
Exactly.
Right? Some people say to me, what about Matthew 17, where Christ was on the Mount of Transfiguration and Elijah and Moses came up? I said, please, people. That context itself does tell you very clearly. Moses represents the whole law of the Old Testament. Elijah represents the prophets. The two legs of the Old Testament is the law and the prophets. So God brings up those who still represents the law of the Old Testament, the law and the prophets. He brings them up, and in their presence he says the following: this is my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased. Hear him. Meaning, you have heard these ones. Their season is over. Now I am announcing a new season, that all truth will now come through my son. On the contrary, that context is going the opposite. On the contrary, that verse, it actually says the opposite of ancestral veneration. It says, this is the man to whom all truth will come true. Hear him.
Come on.
Hebrews 1 verse 3. In days past, God spoke through fathers of tribes, but in the last days, He has spoken to us through His Son.
Exactly. Yes.
So that's who we listen to. That's why we learn from Abraham, but we follow Jesus. We learn from David. We're not disciples of, but David did this, but we're not disciples of David. But Moses did this, but Elijah did this, but Joseph did this. Yes, we learn from all of them, but we're disciples of Jesus. So when we ask anything, the questions we ask is not what David did, but what Jesus said.
Exactly.
And what Paul wrote.
Yeah.
Because Paul will only confirm what Christ had said. Right? So we're not necessarily, even the Bible, please understand, the Bible, everything is correctly recorded. Not everything is the correct thing to do.
Exactly. That's right.
In the Bible.
That's right.
The Bible you read, everything is correctly recorded, not everything is the correct thing to do. Things are descriptive and prescriptive.
Yes. Described
and prescribed.
Yes.
David committed adultery with Bathsheba, described, not prescribed. Right? So don't go around saying to me, it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Yeah, but what is it in the Bible? What is it saying? Judas betrayed Jesus and committed suicide. Described, not prescribed. Not prescribed. So, African spirituality, this whole thing, I'm a spiritual person, and listen, there are many spirits. There are many spirits. African people believe in nubular spirits. Spirits have no certain distinction or clarity. So people are spiritual. I'm a spiritual person. I see things. Right? The problem is this. There's only one spirit in the whole universe with the prefix holy.
Yeah.